Well, hello there, Max. What are you doing, dog? What are you doing, dog? Well, today we are here because we got these chassis here, and they have it's a slide pin mechanism here. It uses brake chambers. I think they're 24 brake chambers, and they just suck in, so you can, it's a triaxle chassis, so you can make them longer or shorter depending on what you're hauling. And they're notorious for losing the pins out of there. So we had to come up with a solution. We couldn't find any, so we had to figure something out. And so what I came up with was I made up some of these little, they're just 2-inch stock, and put a little thing on the end of it, and then it takes a little normal clevis, put it together, and it just kind of suck in and out, and you got to do your adjustment like you do a brake stroke. I'm gonna paint them up and put it back together. This is the old one. I kind of did measurements. I think it'll suck it in far enough so that way it goes all the way inside. It's got to go all the way inside here in order for this mechanism or this inside to move. So the inside of this has got to go in, and it just kind of slides inside there with these little rollers right there. Pretty neat little deal, but the pins and everything, they always come up missing. And they're like these 3-piece pins. If you look over here, this one here's got one missing. And they're pretty common. So a little bit of fabrication, but oh well. Anyway, we're gonna get going on this, so I can put it together and make my adjustment and ship it. So what I do is I put a little bit of paint on those so they don't rust away, and then lost the clevis and all, so it's got a little, it's just a typical clevis. There's not really a way to put the clevis on short of taking the whole brake chamber off, so instead of doing that, I typically just wire it all up, and then I gotta do is kind of feed it onto the stroke or the rod, just like a brake chamber on your, like a big truck. Same thing. It operates the same way. It's just got its own little air thing, supply. One of them jobs nobody really cares about but me. And then really I just feed it on through a little hole here. Well, that's about as good as I can get y'all. So there's this little rod here, just like a brake chamber on a truck. You just gotta feed the damn clevis. I can't even freaking speak. And let me get a pair of vice grips. Like some of them, it'll want to try to rotate, inside there. And so all I do is just put a little vice grip on there and just kind of keep it from rotating. And around we go. Let me spray it with some WD. You can spin it around, because the shaft that I made is a little bit longer than the other one, so this one's gonna have to run down all the way. I'll show you as soon as I get it fed down on there. Basically, I'm gonna have to run it all the way down to the end of the shaft on that end. So the ultimate number that matters, or the length, is when you apply air, and I'll show that to you in a little bit too. When you apply air, it sucks that rod in. That pin is just to the inside of the housing there for the chassis, and then that'll allow it to slide in and out. And just like brake chambers, like on a big truck, they got jam nuts on them, and they'll have a tendency to work themselves loose. What I did was I measured all the way, left myself enough room that it should suck that pin in far enough to where it'll clear the inside. So if you look, I don't know if I can see that, but I had to make it where that rod was all the way next to the pin, the bottom of that pin. I don't even know if y'all can see anything. Yeah, there you go. So, but that was the adjustment. The other one, you got a little bit of gap, but I went ahead and made it to where it's, you know, I'll tighten that jam nut down. And then we should, I'll do the other side, same thing, except for I'm going to use the old pin, or one of the old pins, and it should be good enough to where it'll suck it in. And what that does is it basically, that pin holds it in a position, either short, stretched out, or short. It just holds the position, kind of like a dry van trailer or something like that, where the bogey's held in place by the pins. So same type of scenario. All I'm going to do now is crank down that jam nut so that it stays put, and that just kind of locks it in place like a typical brake chamber. Oh, it's a turn on me. I don't know if y'all can see anything. Hell, I can't even see anything. I'm doing it all by get another crescent on there. Once I put on the other side, I'll apply air, and then you can make your adjustments accordingly. So anyway, there's the end result, what it should look like inside here. It's got the brake chamber there. They're one on either side, and they act kind of like a parking brake. They got a brake spring in there, and a typical, like a service side and a parking brake side. And they just suck that tail in and hold it out so that it can't move. But let me get this other side done, and we'll put air to it. So this side, this pin's a little bit shorter. So you just got to make your adjustment according. So you don't want to feed it all the way up onto the rod, or at least that's what I don't do. You want it to be long enough to where it goes all the way up to capture both sides of the inside chassis and the outside, but you also want it to go in far enough to where when it releases, or when it pulls back, it'll suck it in far enough to where it'll move. So try that. So that's what it looks like out here. But that's that side. Like I said, this is a shorter pin. This thing's probably two and a half inches shorter. And this other pin, with it fully released, let me walk over here. This one comes out quite a bit farther, but I think it'll still be okay. We'll find out here in a minute. Then you run your jam nut all the way down, just like any, you know, semi-truck thing, brake chamber. Once you apply air to it, and if you got to change anything as far as measurements, you can do it then. So let me get the air fired up here. Let me put some air to this thing and see what we got. So all that really matters is that it goes inside the wall there. See how it's barely inside there, which is all you're after. Side here would be reversed. It would want to be out far enough. See how this one goes way up in there. So I hope I made them short enough. The other side should be fine. So I think it'll be okay. And of course you just release it here. That allows that spring, like a brake chamber, to come back out and push that rod back out. So everything functions like it's supposed to. Let me do it one more time to make sure. Yeah, we ought to be good. I mean, it's in there it's in there about as far as it needs to be just to move. And like I said, all you gotta do is be able to move it. So I think we'll be okay. So I don't know what else I had wrote up on this thing. Let me look. Get rid of this. What else do we got here? Pin, okay, we got that. Left rear lights, rear marker lights come on when braking. Okay. So I've got a fleet of chassis out here that I maintain for this company at Milestone. I got about 70 of them on this lot, so I come in here about once a week and look at what they got red tagged and see what I got to do, or what I need to get them back up and going. So let me get my electric box hooked up to this chassis and see what we got for lights. Alright, I got my box hooked up. Y'all let me know which lights don't come on. Alright, so according to this, it says left rear lights not working. Well, the rear lights are working. Maybe it's the other side or something, the side lights. And then right marker light in rear comes on when braking. So that's awfully bright. See one of these lights over here? for example. This one there is brighter than that one, so something funky going on there. Probably a short maybe or something, I don't know, but let's see the outside. And this one works right. So I'm gonna go adjust it or move it to the all I have is a little cheesy box that I use. Ain't nothing special, but it works. Those tail lights. So let's do clearance. We got clearance lights. Let's see what that does back here. And see, now the only ones that should come on these type of chassis is the middle, because the tail lights on the truck will do that, but as long as all of them come on. So right here we don't have things coming on, so we're gonna have to dig into this and see what's going on, because there ain't nothing over here at all. This whole side over here is shot. But that light comes on. See, that one's on, so that tells me that there's power coming down to the left side. I wonder if the brake or the turn signal light works. Let me see. It's going to be the left turn signal. Let's see, left turn signal. So you should only have, I don't know if these are 1 or 2 lights that blink, but you should only have, yeah, see, the left turn signal works. What about brake lights? So with this on the brake light, you should hear the ABS as well. Yeah. Sometimes I gotta hook up the computer and figure out what's going on with the ABS. But okay, so this side doesn't have any tail lights or nothing, and this one does. It's kind of weird how one light's brighter than the other. I don't know what's up with that. That's kind of weird though, how this comes on with a brake light. That shouldn't come on. That should only be tail light. So I'm betting there's a short with the tail and the brake, probably a ground. I don't know. So we got some digging to do. What about the right turn signal? I didn't check that. Just want to see if that outside light blinks when the turn signal's on. Yeah, nice and bright. So, we got some digging to do. Come back to it, I guess. I'm gonna have to take off that panel and see what the hell's going on. Well, there's a cluster right there. Can't get to squat. Let me look into it and I'll get you back. For the time being, that's about the best I can offer as far as a view. There ain't a whole lot here to grab a hold of, so I just want to kind of take a little peeky in here and see if you can see anything that's remotely funky. looks real bad, but I'm going to plug the power back up to that left side again and see if we move something, maybe it'll work. Kind of lead me in the right direction. If not, we're going to end up taking that panel off on the left side and digging in there, because whatever's going on isn't over here. So anyway, let me go put some power real quick. Well, it comes up into the picture there, but before, this light here was brighter than this one on the tail light section, and now it's the same. So we were farting around with something in there, and it did something here. So but we still ain't got nothing over here. Let me piddle around with these wires again, see if we can see anything come on. Sometimes it's just a simple connection issue. I heard the ABS do something. See, again, we fiddled around with those wires right there, and I don't know if y'all can see that, but this side is brighter than this side just on tail, and it wasn't here a while ago. So let me see if I can figure that out. Yeah, see how it went dim again? I don't know if y'all can even see that. Like the ABS, like the power to it or something. It could be very well up inside the 7 way up there. It may not be back here. But I'm betting there's something going on back here. Dim again. Cut that wire. The ABS, when it clicks on, and then that light comes bright again. Body into this thing. So I'm betting there's going to be a problem right in this little junction right here. Yeah, see, I just moved it and it went bright again. And I'll do it again if I can get it to do it again. Looks like there's a bad wire in there or something, or it's shorting out. If the rubber's touching in there or something. Yep, see how it went dim again. So there's something inside that junction box, but I don't know what's going on over here. I may have to take that apart and see if there's power going to it or what, or where it stops. You know, I had it more than once where people will come up while I'm working and ask me, you know, what I'll charge to do this, that, or the other. And to be quite frank, it ain't that I don't want to do the work, but sometimes I just don't have the resources, and time is usually the one of them. You know, I'm only one guy, and one thing I don't do is sit around and wait for work to come to me. So there's often times where I turn down a lot of work, but I'd rather do that because once you start hiring people, and thinking you're going to make a bunch of money by having these mechanics out, and I'm not saying everybody's like that, but there's quite a few that you know, you'll send them out to do a job in a fully loaded service truck, and you got complaints later on that they did this, they forgot something here, you know, they didn't do their job properly, so you burn up a freaking bearing and the wheels came off, or they just didn't torque it properly, you know. I can't afford to have that kind of liability on my hands. So if that means I got to turn down work, then so be it. You just can't find nobody to do anything that wants to do anything, and they want to do it quality. They want a paycheck. But when it comes time for, you know, I had a guy one time, he hooked up batteries and burnt the heads of the batteries off the posts. So I had to replace all them freaking batteries. Luckily nothing happened to the guy's truck. And then that's it. You know, you don't have any, you know, the guy, you just, you know, well, just give me some new batteries and I'll go do it again. Well, you know, you're supposed to know this, how to hook this shit up. One thing I got tired of doing was babysitting grown men. So I just soon keep it myself. It might seem like it's kind of overkill to do this on these chassis, but these rail yards, man, these some bitches will steal the damn brake light. Pretty bad. Years ago when I had a bunch of trucks, I had drivers, and man, I tell you what, having to babysit them people is just not my cup of tea. I'm gonna have to get a little drill bit on that one. Yeah, so ever since that stuff happened to me, and I just didn't like the fact that I had to babysit people, I've never been able to hire anybody since. If I do have somebody work with me, they usually have their own stuff, their own truck, their own everything, and all I gotta do is send them to work. I don't have to deal with it. And they're not gonna screw it up because they have just as much to lose that I do. Let me get a hammer or something. back to, you know, now the phone's ringing. Truck service. Kind of my rant. I would rather turn down a job. I'd rather turn down a job for a guy or potential customer, even road calls, if it means that I can stay consistent with regular customers. And I don't mean to be a dick, but I've got some customers that are regular. There's an agreement between us to where your stuff breaks, I'm gonna fix it. And they don't. I'm gonna move because that's gonna come flying out of there. They didn't cut off the damn thing good enough when they pulled it out. I need to get a duller drill bit there. That one's way too sharp. I'm not really one to nag about shit. I kind of keep to myself. One thing I can't and don't like to do is babysit a grown man. So you say you know what you're doing, and later on you find out that you don't have a damn clue. Can't do nothing with you. If I don't know what I'm doing, I'm gonna say something. Man, I'm not gonna mess with that because I don't have a clue. I ain't afraid to dig in, but it ain't gonna cost anybody but me to learn the hard way. That was a mess. I was hoping something would be happening down here. Doesn't look like it's gonna be. It's gonna be right here. I think that's just the tail light though. Turn the power on, see what we got. Nothing. I'm betting you the problem probably ain't gonna be here. I'm betting you it's gonna be probably in that little cluster up there. That's my guess. Or the seven-way itself. That's possible too. I doubt it. I don't know. Piddling here. I'll have to look back on the video, but I don't know if we had a turn signal there or not, but I was piddling with the wires here. See how it flickers? That's a bad connection. Makes me wonder if this bulb is even good, but see how it go off and come on? I don't think it's in the 7-way. I think it's going to be back here in this wire loom. You know, that comes back, it plugs into that little kind of a miniature 7-way and it feeds everything back here. I think we're going to have a problem with wires touching. But if I can figure out, see this one here's got, and now the turn signal, or the whatchamacallit right here, see that? Sounds like there's a short in there. I guess I'm going to tear the other light off. Trying to hope not, or trying not to. It sounded like it was shorting out and touching something. Because I've seen that light come on too, which is a good thing. See what kind of juiciness we got in here. See that light come on, but it turns on with the turn signal. That's weird. I mean, this is getting power. I bet you it's inside that plug. It's all molded to the, like a plastic mold or rubber mold or what. bet you they're touching wires in there. But I was piddling with it out here. What did I do to get that? Look at that. I don't know if y'all can even see that. Let's see. Man, probably not. ABS right there. Rule out this light here, it's not bad. This one won't come on. I mean, this bulb itself is bad. I'll make the other one work. And now we ain't getting nothing out of that one at all. Same wire. I'm betting the bulb itself is bad. Plug this one back into it. Or not. Just when you think you got something, you ain't got nothing. Go make sure my box didn't reset. Well, I had something, now I ain't got shit. Start piddling around with stuff and then you make it worse. I'm almost gonna bet money we're gonna be looking at that little 7-way there. That's my guess. This other side works, shorted out. Let's see if we can get this sucker to come on. I think it's going to be shorted inside that. had something earlier. Now I got nothing. I'm betting there's a broken wire in this little harness. Short side over there, I was able to move it around. I bet you the back of this, what I want to guarantee is that I got power up to here like normal, like both sides. So I'm going to have to get my power probe on there, or multimeter, make sure we got left turn signals. We're supposed to be doing their thing. Let me go turn that on real quick. Over here, but watch this. I'm going to pull on this kind of like this. And while I'm doing that, I think this back cord's bad. You know, it takes away the short. And all I'm doing is just barely even moving it too. See a little bit of movement? That's all I'm doing. So, I think I said that 7-way. Could be inside this little piece right here, but no matter what, it's all one piece anyway, so. Let me get my multimeter and make sure that we got left turn signals right here, because this is where your main source comes from, the front of the trailer, from the 7-way. So let me make sure we've got a left turn signal, brake light. I would say left turn signal probably be, and then if we do, I'd say this little piece right here is all bad. So let me get my multimeter. We're gonna need my multimeter, but I think I figured out the problem. Remember I was telling you I think it's this cord. Well, I might be able to get y'all up in there. I don't think so. Let me throw a light in there just so I can try to. I'm gonna put you kind of cockeyed, but I doubt we're gonna be able to see anything. I have to record it on my phone. So it started popping the relay on my box up there, my power box, and then I had to pay for it. I reached my hand up in there and grabbed a hold of that because I was fiddling with the wire here, and the damn little tail light on the very end was coming on and off. So I ran it up in here and I grabbed a hold of some of them pointy wires, and sure enough I stuck myself, and I figured, well, that's the problem right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to dig this sucker out. These guys here, you can't kind of half-ass stuff. If it has to be fixed, it's got to be per OEM on these chassis, otherwise, you know, they won't, I don't want them pissed off at me because I half-assed something. So we're going to pull this wiring harness out here, order it. It's a Phillips wiring harness for this chassis. I'm going to dig it out, and then we're going to have to move on to other stuff. That's all I can do with this chassis. I got 3 other chassis I got to deal with, or 4. So we'll just yank this wire out here. I'll get it ordered. In the meantime, we'll deal with other shit. But let me get this thing dug out of here. Well, anyway, there's the, you're right, there's the, I'll get it in the screen right. There's the juicing. That's what we were looking for. So it's been this way for a minute, and it was probably grounding out on the frame inside. That's my guess. So we're not going to go any further with this chassis. We're just going to put up what we got up, and this will come as a harness. Hopefully it's just this end piece. This is what was inside the brake lights and all that shit. So this is the left side, the one that was acting up, and so it was shorting out. It started popping my my breaker on my box for my electrical. So I knew we were onto something there, and then it quit doing it entirely, and that's probably because it was touching, grounded on the frame. So I've been rubbing for a minute. Finally just got to the point where it wasn't doing it no more. So anyway, we're gonna go stop doing what we're doing with this chassis. I got other shit I gotta do on other stuff. So I'm gonna try to be done before it gets dark out, because that's when the road calls start. So anyway, we'll come back to this one another time. Well, here we are. I I guess this one's kind of obvious what's going on with it, or at least for starters. Not good. Let's see if the magic card says anything. It does not. So, Maximus, what are you doing, dog? Well, we know we're going to start with that, and whenever they do a red tag like that and they don't say anything else on it, I always hook up the computer to it, and or at least my jump box, and find out if the ABS and all that does, because I hate for it to do that. I've got some of these on the truck. They're not quite as long, so if it won't work, I might just try to weld that up. Wouldn't take much. That's a pretty long stick there. It's got to go down to that handle. They don't want it flopping around. So let me see what I got on the truck. So I don't have this long-handled one. On these tandem axle, on these Milestones, they're long handles, and like their tri-axle ones, they're short handles. I carry these little black ones here. I carry on the truck, but they'll work temporarily, but they just won't clasp down into the deal properly. So it'll be kind of a temporary thing. I called them and okayed it, so they're cool with it for now. So we're just going to swap it out. So that way they can use the chassis. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have any kind of, the stuff that I do isn't real major, like, you know, digging into major repairs, or sometimes I will, but it's a living. So that'll work. I'll get some other ones ordered. It doesn't quite go down into that all the way, so it just kind of sits there. So, but I got approval from the head honcho, so we're good to go as far as that goes. Let me get my box hooked up and see what else we got. So here's a good example of what I was telling you on this chassis. This is the one we did that thing right there, dolly handle thing. So a good example is they don't tell you, they just red tag it. So whenever I do that, or whenever that happens, I always check the lights and check the tires, just because I'm here. It just makes sense. So for example, on this, it's got where you can check the ABS. So down there, way down there at the back, right in that corner, is your ABS light. If it comes on and goes off, you're good. But if it comes on and stays on, there's an issue with the chassis modem, or the ABS modem. So I'm going to turn it on. Or not. Now it ain't coming on at all. Sorry about that. I had a guy come over and ask me if I changed tires. I said, no, I don't do tire work. So anyway, I'm going to turn the ABS box, or the light, on here, and as long as it comes on and goes off, then you're good. But if it comes on and stays on, there's a problem with the ABS. So here we go. All right, there's the light. It should turn off here in about 20 seconds or less. Usually 5 or 10 seconds it'll shut off. So it has yet to shut off. So it should shut off by now. What that tells me is that there's something in the computer or on the chassis stored. So maybe a power issue, or somebody took the power out, or, you know, it could be a sensor, or who knows what. So we're gonna have to hook up the computer to the ABS. The magic thing here tells us, the magic snap-on box. care about no VIN numbers right at the time. So it says left front, I don't know if y'all can read that. Left front axle sensor. So this is a tandem axle, and so I think on the Tris they put them on the front axle and the back axle, but on this one they only put it on one, I think, the front axle, but I don't know. So let's just go over here and take a little peeky. Sometimes it's just unplugged, like bounce around. So it said left front, so that would be this one here. Sometimes they'll be just unplugged or whatever, or cut. I don't usually see them cut, but I will see them vibrated apart. I don't see anything wrong with that one. So what I will tell you just from experience is that if there's power loss, sometimes that'll happen too. You know, if there's a power loss, the sensor will throw a code, and what I'll do is, if I can't really find anything that's really wrong, and the only reason I'm bringing this up is because I deal with these all the time. I have for 5-6 years now, so they all operate the same way. So some of these trucks, the ABS portion doesn't work on their truck, on their cable, and so it throws a code because there's no power getting to it, the brain right here. So I'm gonna clear the code, and if it does not come back, chances are that's what it was. But if it comes back, then there's probably something wrong with the sensor itself or connection, so I'll disconnect it back there. But so I'm just going to clear the code. Oh. And we'll let it clear, and if it doesn't come back active, then we're not going to worry about it. So let me cut the power. We'll come back on and basically start it from scratch. Sometimes I put air to it. Sometimes I'll put air to it and go that route. See, the light went off now. See it out there? It's no longer on. And I'm running my program. Oh, sorry about that. Y'all are probably getting freaking motion sickness. So the light did not come back on. So right now the light should be on like it was before. So that's probably going to be the case, and that's typically what it is. Not always. I mean, sometimes the sensor's bad, or the wheel seal's leaking, or something of that nature, got it clogged up, or it's broke or disconnected or what have you, or the box itself is bad. But almost always, if there's any kind of power loss while this thing's rolling, it'll almost always throw a code, and it's usually a sensor, or tell you what sensor it is, especially on the triaxles where they've got 4 instead of 2. So nothing come back active, then we're just gonna say send it. So there's no active codes on it, so we're done. That's that. Moving on to the next one. All right, here we go again. They've got a yard here, about 300 chassis, so you got to try to, pick your way through. So this is what they leave, and so I just go through and basically have to figure out what's the problem. So this one here says ABS light doesn't turn off. So let me get my stuff set up here. Hang on. All right, so turn the power on now. If you look at the ABS light down there, it is sure enough on. And it does not go off, just like they said. So, we got to plug in the crystal ball here and see what it says. And this was an example too where there wasn't quite enough clearance to run the straight one. For whatever reason, they're just shaped differently, so you got to use the angled one. I'm going to call it the angled one because I don't really know what else to call it. So the other chassis there, that one that we were working on, that triaxle with the harness issue, you have to buy the whole harness from beginning to end. They won't sell you just the back. So we're going to have to get the whole thing. And you're going to shit bricks. That sucker was $600 and something, if you can believe that. So it is what it is. All kinds of good stuff. Now see what happens on here. Here's a good example. For example, it has power supplies. Oh, let me go back. I don't want to do that. Do you want to go back to false? Yes. So, for example, you have power supply written here, and then over here you got right front axle, right front axle. So what happened, some of these trucks are old enough to where they don't have ABS, and so what happened is the chassis will read it as a fault, and it'll trigger the sensors. So one of the sensors will just throw a code, and that's what happens here. So you're going to have the same issue where that it's not going to reset itself, so you have to clear a code on it. So I'm going to clear the codes because there's nothing wrong with the deals, and as long as it doesn't come back. So it says right front axle, all right, right front axle sensor. So we're going to go again. Okay, so now it comes back as that right front axle, so or sensor. So we're going to go over here and take a little peeky. Right front. It could very well just be disconnected. It happens because they bounce around quite a bit. Let's see what we got here. I don't see anything wrong. Oh, see there? That's exactly what I was telling you about. There you go. And they only give you enough room. I mean, you barely. That's all they give you. So, anyway, it's kind of a pain in the ass to buckle or to get that put together. So let me put it back together, and then we'll reset it. All right, so I got that thing put back together. As long as it snaps into place and the little housing thing isn't all cracked where the little pins go, they just bounce around and they come out. Kind of a common thing. I don't want to do any kind of alterations to it because that's not what they're after. So anyway, that should clear our code right there. But anyway, what I was going to tell you, if y'all are just starting out or whatever, but whenever you're doing service, especially if you got a fleet account, you know, take a look inside and see if it needs wheel seals, see if there's brakes are cracked. You know, man, you can prevent a lot of stuff if you just kind of look and give a shit. Broken springs, I mean, you name it. And then let them decide whether or not they want to mess with it. You know, that's all I got to say. But let the company decide if they want to spend the money to fix it. As long as you tell them about it and it's off your shoulders and they decide not to do it, well, that's on them after that point. You just document what you say, you know, put it on your invoice that such and such needs this, that, and the other. So later on, if it comes back and say, well, how come you didn't do this? Well, I told you, but you didn't want to do it. So there you go. I'm not here to babysit nobody, including a company. So, you know, I always look around, especially when I'm already under here, cracked axles. I've seen splits in the axles. You name it, man. Freaking SK or slack adjusters that aren't even there anymore. I mean, just, you know, these will break off, have a split in them. It doesn't happen very often, but you know, these things, especially going through the rail yard, they're under a tremendous amount of stress. So, you know, cracks in the frames. I've caught a few cracks in the frames on DOTs and all that. So anyway, let me go up here and clear the computer up and see what's up. So as you can see, the light down there is still on. Come on, baby. You can focus. There you go. All right, sleepy head. All right, so we're going to clear this code off right here. And it shouldn't come back on because we got it done. So when the light goes off, come on, there you go. So no more light, no more code. We're gonna make a quick walkthrough with the lights and make sure we're good. So easy peasy lemon squeezy. Well, that's that. I'll do a follow-up on that chassis deal here. I almost forgot my damn box open. Cover up my motor there. Anyway, I'll do a follow-up on that chassis here that we had the wiring issue. I'll get one ordered and we'll come back to it, but it'll be another day. So until then, see you later.